Mark is an outstanding individual and a treasured friend in every way. His strengths, capabilities, patriotism, service to and love of our country inspires me. When Mark says that he will do something or offers to help, you can bank on it. It's a done deal, semper fi. One of the things we share is the United States Marine Corps. Hoorah. Mark retired from the United States Marine Corps Reserve as a brigadier general. I say it all the time. Mark is a graduate of the United States Naval Academy. He's got two of us covered anyway. He also served in the Air Force in the light flight. I think he flew the F-15, didn't he? Mark served as a United States Marine Corps fighter pilot. He is a graduate of the Navy Fighter Weapons School, well known as Top Gun. Remember that from the movies. And is a former member of the Blue Angels. Mark is a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. My son, where are you, Travis? He was there probably about the same time you were there. On the ground, he was in the air. As an attorney, Mark's passion is our United States Constitution. Mark is a valued friend, a friend who continues to inspire and challenge me just by knowing him. Mark Bertram.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I'll try to live up to it. They say you can always tell a fighter pilot, you just can't tell them much. I'm happy and honored to introduce my friend John Tornga, for mayor of Dunedin. I first met John about 10 years ago with the honor flight, where he was a board member and probably the driving force behind it. And if you're not familiar with the honor flight, the complexity of transporting aging military veterans to Washington, D.C. and back in 24 hours, it has to go smoothly and safely. The details of that endeavor approach planning D-Day in 1944. It's incredible. But what's interesting about John, which I'm sure his friends have already seen, John makes the hardest things look easy. He just has that knack. He's like the swan out there on the lake that's gliding by effortlessly. But don't be fooled. John's a lot like the swan. He's paddling underneath very hard. I hope you'll indulge me for just a couple of minutes, because I would like to brag on John Tornga. I think he's going to make a great mayor of Dunedin. And the reason I think, one of the reasons I think John Tornga is going to be great, because if anybody knows John Tornga, the reason I need to brag on him is he'll never brag on himself. John received a BA in economics from Calvin University at the same time as his commission in the United States Marine Corps, second lieutenant. You'll never read about John Tornga in the history books, but he was a hero. John served in the I Corps area of Vietnam, the very northern part of South Vietnam. It's near the DMZ. You'll never hear John tell you about Hill 37 or Nong Ha or Cam Low or Camp Carroll or the Rock Pile. These are all exposed fire bases, very dangerous places. John served as a company commander, essentially leading young Marine teenagers and 20-somethings that depended on his leadership to accomplish the mission and their very survival. It's an incredible job. When it wasn't popular, John Tornga heard the call of his country to arms. He rode to the sound of the guns. At a time he didn't have to, but that's what John Tornga did, and I think we see that now in what he does for the community. After his active military service in the Marine Corps, John obtained his MBA at Michigan State University, and more importantly, met his wife, Deborah. Within days of his graduation, he's already got a Fortune 100 job with AMF, marketing and sales, and jobs find people as much as people find jobs. And before long, he's international vice president in Austria, subsidiary head company, skis, tennis rackets, for 5 years. And while he's in Austria, his daughter Rory and his son Travis are born. In 1990, he relocates, comes to Dunedin, and starts his own computer programming business. John and Deborah embraced the community of Dunedin. They raised their children here. Rory graduated from Florida Southern College, which is in Lakeland, where my wife Jackie is from. Travis graduated from USF, where our son goes. And Travis also served proudly as a United States Marine, following in his father's footsteps. I believe Travis was an 0331. I'm not sure if that's correct. Everybody's favorite MOS in the Marine Corps. You can ask him why. It's my favorite MOS. And I might say, the great thing about the Marine Corps is there's only two jobs. There's infantrymen, and there's people who support infantrymen. I work for Travis, I work for John, I work for the people that made the Marine Corps what it is. And I was proud to do every minute that I had that opportunity. Deborah and Tom, Deborah and John are members of the Dunedin United Methodist Church. Faith and family are very important parts of John and Deborah's life. Now, I'm going to have to resort to the activities of membership to make John a member of this community are incredible. The things that he does for this community. Because in my case, if I go to the post office and the dry cleaners on the same day, I think I've done it. I think I need a meritorious day off. But that's not John Tornga. This is a partial list of what John Tornga has done, and why I think he's going to make the great mayor, undoubtedly. It's a staggering list. This is some of his memberships and activities. The VFW, American Legion, Boat Club, Library, Fine Arts Center, Museum, and president of both the Dunedin Rotary Club and the Spanish Trails Homeowners Association. And did I mention the Optimist Club, the Elks Club, and my personal favorite, U.S. Military Veterans Motorcycle Club. But that's not enough for John. As an active member of the community, John wanted to do more. He became involved with learning all facets of the Dunedin city government. John served on various Dunedin city boards, and after almost 25 years in Dunedin, in 2014 he was elected and served two terms as Dunedin commissioner. John also served, and this is a pretty good prequel, to be mayor, vice mayor twice, 2018 and 2023. Get this list. John has served as chair of the Dunedin Board of Finance on the Community Redevelopment Committee, the Waterfront Task Force, safety committees, including ensuring that the Sheriff's Office remained in Dunedin, the U.S. Military Veterans Committee, liaison to the Dunedin Golf Club and Dunedin Cares, and I'm just getting started. He served on important county and regional organizations, Forward Pinellas, Pinellas Planning Council, Tampa Bay Transportation Management Leadership Group, Pinellas Trail Security Task Force, Pinellas Suncoast Transportation Authority. In conclusion, I believe that because of John's experience and commitment to his community, he knows his way around the governmental engine room that drives the city of Dunedin. He's familiar with everything that's there because of his experiences and his service. In an area where public servants and politicians are often drifting away from their accountability and their responsibility with our fiscal requirements, you can count on John to be conservative with the public monies and making sure that the taxes that are paid are as low as are feasible. John has the energy and foresight to see the future problems that will accompany all Florida cities and towns. He's already engaged in issues concerning ocean tides, storm drains, and the threat of water in general. John's entire life journey, his background, his experiences, his qualifications have prepared him for this job. He is ready. It's my distinct honor introduce my friend John Tornga, the next mayor of Dunedin.
Thank you, Mark. And all I said was he was a fighter pilot. He goes off on Can you imagine some of the stories you'd hear from him? Thanks again, Mark, for your introduction. I would like to just tell you a story, and then I'll end up that story, just to give you a better insight of perhaps John Tornga, but a better insight of my relationship then to the city of Dunedin. When Debbie and I were in Europe, we lived in Bregenz, Austria. Beautiful city, same number of people as what we have here, located on one of the largest bodies of water in all of Europe, Bodensee, and the background is the Australian Alps. Beautiful place, wonderful place. Our favorite place to visit was just down the road in Italy. And the reason why we like to go down there, it took us about 5 hours, so we would go down there every once in a while for a long weekend. And it was Portofino. If anybody's been to Portofino, everybody loves Portofino. What we loved about Portofino was all of the boats were all together. All together. You'd have a little bitty boat, probably cost $500. There it was sitting right next to these grandiose, great big yachts. And I love that. I love the history of where that was. So Debbie and I said, when we come back to the United States, number one, we're going to move to Florida. We want to be in Florida. And number two, we want to find our forever city. Well, this could take a little while, but I'm going to skip through all of that. And here we were over there in Clearwater Beach, trying to figure out where we wanted to live or where we were going to live. So we took a trip. We took a little road trip up the coast. We were actually heading up to Tarpon Springs, that great Greek village with all that history. And so it started right here, right in front of this marina. When I stopped, I hadn't seen Dunedin yet. And I stopped. Now this was 36 years ago, so the traffic allowed me to do that. I stopped. There was a guy walking by, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, what is that over there?" And I was pointing at the marina and at the boat club. And he said, "That's a marina." I said, "Oh, thank you, thank you." Oh yeah, by the way, what's that building behind it? Which was my initial question. And he said, "That's the Dunedin Boat Club." And I said, "Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Dunedin Yacht Club or the Dunedin Boat Club?" He said, "The Dunedin Boat Club." I said to Debbie, "We found it. We found it. Our forever city." So now all we have to do is find out where we might want to live. Now, included in that forever city was a forever home and a forever house. And that's what we wanted to find, and we found that. While we were looking for that forever home and house, that meant we had to be in a wonderful neighborhood. There were so many to choose from that became a non-issue. The issue became the house. We loved all the neighbors because we were going to raise our children here in Dunedin, our forever city. That story goes on. However, what happened was, I'm going to use the word lured. I got lured away by a company called Microprose, a hot company in the tech area. And I had worked on both sides of the world, Japan and the Far East, and in Europe. And of course, we were here in the United States, and well, they lured me away. It was horrible. It was not easy. So we left. And so we went to Hunt Valley, Maryland, lived in a Hunt Valley, that's where you ride the horses and you go hunt the beautiful place. The company got bought out in 2 years. Debbie looked at me and she said, get your tickets, get down there and get us a place. So I knew where she meant, I knew what she meant, but I didn't clearly understand everything. So I went down twice, came down to Dunedin, said, I have to live in Dunedin. I don't need to talk to a realtor, I know Dunedin, so I have to live in Dunedin. The second time, when I came home, she looked at me and she said, well, did you buy it yet? And I said, what? She said, did you buy my house back? And I said, no, was I supposed to buy the house? It's not for sale. Was I supposed to buy the house back? She said, oh. She said, I don't know how many more times you're going to go down there, but why don't you just do it one time and go down there and buy the house back? Because I want my house back. We came back. So, that's part of the story. The second part of the story was, well, when you do something like that, the board invited me to the very next meeting they had. And I wasn't sure, I thought maybe they're going to give me an award. I don't know, what did I do? So I go into the board meeting for our community, and they announced that I was on the board. Because anybody that buys their house back and lives in it the second time has to be on the board. That's what started me in the Dunedin thing, because it just kept going and growing, and you're helping people out, you're helping kids out, you're involved, and so then before you knew it, I was on a committee, and then I was on a board, and on we go, and you heard Mark talk about that. I tell you that story because that relates a lot to what Mark was talking about. That's me. That's what I did here in Dunedin. That's how I feel about Dunedin. And many of you in this room feel exactly the same and have done exactly the same. And it's so much fun to look at you and see you as I look out. That's that story that just tells you, does John love Dunedin? Yeah. Does he go around and tell everybody loves Dunedin? No. But does he do something? Do you see a pattern here? Well, I must really like Dunedin, certainly, because I love supporting what Dunedin does. Not everything, but some things, and so when I do, I do. There's so many volunteers in here that you know the rest of that story and how that flows. So why am I running? Very simply, I am running to represent you. Now everybody says, well, that's easy to say. But that is the absolute truth, that I'm running to represent you. I want to represent every person in this city. That's my responsibility. That would be my job as a mayor. That's my job as a commissioner as well, but as a mayor. And we talk about leadership. Of course, if we have Mark up here and start talking about leadership, he has these whole things he does about leadership, but we know what leadership is. Leadership is, for example, and I carry this around with me, a vision of Dunedin. When we did the waterfront task force, we had to spend 2 whole sessions just so we could get down to what a vision was and how do you develop a vision for a city. Well, the vision is what you want to see it be at some point in time, and what your mission is what you're doing today. But that vision is really important. And I carry this vision around. This is one of my new visions. I have about 5 or 6 tucked away. And this vision simply says, and this is what I would expect to see, this is what I want to see, this is what I want to work to. The most efficient and effective government providing services city that exists, providing the requirements of the business and the residents, and working with the community to learn exactly what that community wants and needs. I am not interested in running a city or being involved in a city that does things by taking polls of what's happening. We have too many people here that can help us. We could do anything in this city with just the people here, but imagine with all the people that we know, what we could do in this city. We could put a task force together to probably design a Z-bomb. That was a pretty big deal, but that big deal, we got a whole lot of people together to make something happen. We could do that, and we can do that in the city. I've got this card, and you've seen this card, and someone said today they kind of liked what was on the front. Let me just tell you, and then I'm going to be done. This is just really about transparency It's really about fiscal responsibility. It's really about safety and security. And it is about making sure that we listen. We have to listen. We have a number of boards and committees in this city. We need to work with those boards and listen better. The boards consist of such fantastic people. The power they have, it's just incredibly awesome. And I mean that. I go to those meetings. I go to a lot of them. I'm not supposed to talk at them theoretically because I don't want to guide or direct them. We need to give them more direction as to what we would like for them to be working on. And they need to tell us more what they would like to work on so that we can support that. I want to make sure that that happens. That's what I call my Dunedin. Now you notice I didn't mention that we're a coastal city. That's why we came here, as a coastal city. I didn't mention some of them. They're here. They're here. We don't even have to reimagine them. They're here. We just have to make sure that we keep our city the way we felt it was, the way we felt it could become, and work in between there, make sure that that happens. We all love Dunedin. We all want to support Dunedin. I will make sure that we do those things. Some of the things I want to collect on here is I want to make sure we do those things, those efficiencies and the like, so that our taxes don't go up. I want to make sure that we do the accounting, that we do zero-based accounting, that we're looking at what should we really pay for a service? We need to really look at that rather than just send you a bill. You get a bill and it went up and, well, that's the way it happened. So that's what I want to see happen for all of us. Not only for us that are here today, but those in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and give this up. I want to thank you for your support very much. I want to thank everybody for being here. There's been a lot of support, and I want to thank you for your vote for Mayor of Dunedin this year. Thank you.
You get to be at a certain age, you can't remember everything, you know? It's awesome. Anyway, before you leave, be sure to sign up to get a sign put in your yard. Don't take them home with you. I'm so that because you usually remind people to take them home. But make sure you sign there. Thank you all for coming. And I want to say one more time, who are you going to vote for mayor? John. There you go. Everybody knows. Thank you guys very much. John will be available. Go ahead and ask your questions now because you've got another good time. Thank you all for coming.